want to play Mark Regev talking on CNN last night with Caitlin Collins about hospitals, cut number 8.
Hospitals are protected sites. We don't target hospitals, and we don't target patients and doctors. That's obvious. That's part of our creed. What is a situation and what is a legitimate target is the Hamas military infrastructure around and under the hospital, and we have to take them out as surgically as we can without causing damage to the hospital, if at all possible, and to avoid harming the people inside.
Okay, so Israel will not strike the Al-Shifa hospital, is that correct?
We won't target hospitals, we target Hamas.
What about the thousands of people that are sheltering around that hospital complex? I mean, you can see from the imagery that there are still civilians.
Stop it, I just don't get it. He just said they're going to minimize civilian casualties, but they have to go after the Hamas infrastructure. I do not understand purposefully obtuse questions. I just don't. I'll be right back with Dr. Oren. Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. Dr. Michael Oren is a former ambassador of Israel to the United States, former deputy minister in a previous Netanyahu government, scholar, historian, wonderful guy, author of Clarity, the Substack that people need to be reading whenever it comes out. Good morning, Dr. Oren. Welcome back to the Hugh Hewitt Show. I want to begin by asking you if you think Americans have lost the thread in this war, because I'm increasingly disturbed at how few Americans understand the trauma under which Israel is operating right now.
Let me just begin. I'm very choked up, Hugh. I just got word that Hamas released a video of a 19-year-old young woman named Noah Marciano, a soldier. She was captured, and I spent a lot of time with her mother, with Adit Marciano. I spent a lot of time when I was in Israel. Right now I'm in an emergency fundraising tour in the United States, but Adit Marciano was the most extraordinary woman, just full of strength and faith. And her daughter, by all accounts, was just a remarkable woman, a remarkable woman. Hamas yesterday released a film clip, I just learned this now, released a film clip of her daughter showing her dead, showing her lifeless body, claiming she had been killed in an Israeli airstrike. I know these people, Hugh. Okay, it's I don't know. I literally just found this out now. So, yeah, they've lost the thread. Let's go back to that. I've lost.
Well, Michael, I began the show by talking about Noah because Marciano is a common name in northeastern Ohio. It's an Italian name. I know a lot of Marcianos, and I don't know what her roots are, but they executed her. I mean, I just have to assume they executed her. The stories in the Times of Israel, they're monsters. They're just absolute monsters.
This young woman was, I mean, I just sat with her mother for hours. And Marcia's a common Israeli name, too. It's a common, Eastern Jewish name. So, well, okay, let's go back and talk about this. This is hard. You lost it, and some of it are losing it. These letters of former American, diplomats and congressional aides. Don't they get it? Don't they get it that this is not a war for Israel, that this is a war for Western civilization? This is a war for you, that if we lose, you are next. Don't they get it when they say Israel has to be careful with the hospitals, Israel has to be careful with the civilians? Don't they get it that Hamas is using these people as human shields, and that we have no choice, that we are losing our soldiers by going slowly? I mean, if we were a quote-unquote normal country, the United States, we would have carpet bombed this place a long time ago. We would have wiped them off. If someone had come to the United States and killed 50,000 Americans, that's the equivalent, okay? 50,000 Americans in 24 hours, had taken 10,000 American prisoners. What would the United States have done to them? Look what the United States did to ISIS. And as far as I know, ISIS did not invade the United States of America. I mean, they killed a couple of journalists, but I don't remember killing thousands of Americans. By the way, same thing. Saddam Hussein, right? Ditto. And, what choice do we have? That this is a war of national survival for the Jewish people. Because if we do not win this war, we have 250,000 people who have lost their homes, been evacuated. They can't go back to their homes unless we defeat Hamas. We will have zero deterrence power. That everybody in the Middle East will understand that you can smack Israel, you can kill Israel, you can massacre Israelis, and Israelis won't be able to do anything because the international community will tie our hands with a ceasefire. And that don't they get it? And don't they get it that these jihadis, if they beat Israel, they're coming for you next, because they're going to understand that everybody's fair game. And by the way, to the credit, the French and the British understand that. I think
Macron
understands that too.
What was Macron doing? I know he walked it back when he said that Israelis were targeting children. And I've got to go to Jake Sullivan. I know he's your friend, so I will frame this as gently as I can. When he said that Israel has to respect hospitals, he basically put a sign above the hospital saying, Hamas, come here and we'll try and keep America from attacking you. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen a national security advisor say, Dr. Oren.
Listen, someone said to me, I can't tell you who, a senior journalist said to me yesterday, it's no longer, this administration is no longer about Gaza, it's about Michigan. And you get it. And so there's a lot of pressure on these people. And say, look what's happening in the polls, look what's happening to all these former officials, and not just former officials, current officials signing letters back and forth. And the progressives out crazy, protesting for communism and for Hamas. I mean, really, you can't make this stuff up. They're under a certain amount of pressure. They're trying to let off a little steam. Go easy on the hospitals. Yeah.
If I had asked you on 10-6, if I had given you, we talk once a week or almost once a week. If I had asked you a hypothetical, Dr. Oren, a terrorist organization invades Israel and kills 1,200 Israelis, kidnaps another 230, and would have gone further and gone longer, but for the fact that they were turned back by the IDF and armed citizenry, what would Israel's reaction be? Would you have expected it to be this restrained and this calibrated and this very, very precise and careful exercise in elimination of Hamas?
No, I would have expected it to be more visceral and more complete. And I would have expected just the Army to line up with all of our guns and all of our tanks and all of our planes and just let loose for 10 minutes. And then there'd be no more Gaza. There'd be no more Gaza. That's what, by the way, that's what a normal country would do. A normal country wouldn't hesitate for a second to do that. And no, every day, we look at our cell phones, we see another soldier killed. We all know these soldiers. And some people will say to themselves, why are we doing this? Why don't we just blow them away? Why should a single additional Israeli die? And the real reason we're doing this is because we are part of a civilization that fully doesn't do that.
I have been listening to you and to this Habib Reddy Gur, who I've never met before, and he keeps communicating to Dan Senor that people in America do not understand the trauma in Israel. And I think he's right. I don't think American media especially has any idea what the average Israeli, and you're not an average Israeli, you know everybody, but what the average Israeli has in their soul. I think it's iron in the soul. I think it's a resolution so complete it doesn't matter. If every American stood up and said stop, I don't think Israel would stop. Now, 95% are not going to say stop. They're going to say go, do what you have to do. But is he right? Am I right that the resolve is complete? They do not care what America thinks?
Well, they don't care. We don't care what America thinks. I'll tell you right now. We don't care what the world thinks. We do not care, but it's irrelevant. It's not even a matter of feelings here. We're in the level of existential necessity. It's exigency. What's exigency? If we don't win, we die. As simple as that. This is not a war of choice. This is a war of national survival. And I would go as far as to say it's not just a war for Israel's national survival. I've been around campuses. I was at Columbia the other day. I spoke to students at Cornell. It is a war for Jewish people's survival. And there's a war against the Jews worldwide. What's going on?
That's why I'm going down to the mall today, Michael. I hope every non-Jew in the Beltway who can get away goes. I know the Jews will show up, and that's great. American Jewry will show up today on the mall, but I'm hoping American Goys show up and say, we are with them, not with those crazy people at our campuses. What are you in the country raising money for? How can people help you do what you're about?
I am not going to be at this rally. I'm down at a university in Florida. I'm doing the craziest thing going on the university campus today. I cannot tell you, and I won't tell you, the degree of security around me and the amount of protesters we're going to get today. It's going to be something, apocalyptic. You got to be a little nuts to do this, but I'm not going to let them chase me off the campus. Just not. So we're going to fight them in the Churchillians. We're going to fight them in the media. We're going to fight them, in the classroom, and we're going to fight them in the streets of Gaza. But one thing you're going to notice that the people who are protesting, supposedly for Palestine, they're actually protesting for mass murderers, okay, are burning American flags. You're going to see they're burning American flags. They're trying to get over the White House. Watch what this protest looks like today. Watch this demonstration. You're going to see thousands and thousands and thousands of American flags. This is a demonstration not just for Israel. It's a demonstration for the United States of America. It's a demonstration for our civilization. And it cannot be more, I don't know, I cannot be more emphatic about it. I'm here fundraising for the United Hatzalah. It's the world's largest volunteer emergency medical system. It's these guys on what's called ambulance cycles. They drive on motorcycles, and they get you within 90 seconds if anything happens to you. But on October 7th, they were the first people on the scene. 2 of the volunteers were killed, 2 were taken taken hostage. Others have been very grievously wounded, but that's not what I'm fundraising for. I'm fundraising for because all the medical stocks were depleted, but completely depleted. And we are in an emergency situation. So I'm here raising money for United Hatzalah. There's no great, it's 7,000 volunteers, paramedics, Jews and Arabs, by the way, a lot of Arabs. And so trying to help them, trying to get, bandages, literally get bandages and tourniquets. So what
is the website? I can't spell Hatzalah, Michael. You know my Hebrew is about as good as my Yiddish, which is not it. United Hatzalah.
That's Hatzalah.
Okay, Dwayne will have heard that. And I want to close with one question. You're on campuses. What explains the moral vacuum or rot? I'm not sure if it's a vacuum or a rot among people under the age of 25. They are utterly ignorant of history and of current events, but mostly of history. They have no idea how Israel came to be, or the backdrop or of Zionism and how old it is, or the Balfour Declaration. They're just morons. How did this happen?
But, this is, canary in the coal mine time. You can't fault them because they have been fed. They have been drilled into them from a very early age, and now by their professors on the university, not just to hate us, but to hate you, to hate your civilization, to hate your country. I see it so much as a matter of self-hatred. And Israel is an expression of that. Yeah, there's a lot of anti-Semitism. They don't understand it's anti-Semitism, but most of them, not all of them. And there's a cool factor. And so it's cool then, to hate Israel. It's cool to hate America. And kids want to be accepted. And so much of that. But they're reinforced in everything they do. What do you expect from them? It's Orwellian.
It is. I hope you watched the video of Senator Coons, Democrat. We don't agree on anything, but yesterday he kept his calm when confronted by one of these radicals pretending to be a journalist who's just a moron, and he kept his cool. There's a lot of after Hamas is destroyed, and you will win and you will destroy them, there's a lot of work to do, Michael. Are you kind of overwhelmed by the challenge ahead?
Yeah, let me just say, I know Chris Coons very well. He's a good man. He's a tough guy. Am I overwhelmed by the challenge? No, because there's no choice. We're not going to be overwhelmed by anything. It's going to be difficult. We're going to need all the help in the world. But thank you for going to that rally.
United Hatzalah. We'll find the link. I'll post it out there. Stay safe, Dr. Michael Oren. Read his Substack, Clarity. He comes whenever he can. And I am sorry for your loss and the loss of the Marciano family. I'll be right back, America. Stay tuned.